Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the Bodega Cat Book Club Health Edition. And today we're continuing our reading of Never Be Sick Again by Francis Raymond. And this will be Chapter 2, Part 2. All right, here we go. The remarkable Hunzas. In the remote valley of the Himalayas, in what is now northeastern Pakistan, lived the people of Hunza, who were renowned for their near-perfect health, robust energy, and extraordinary longevity. Though they lived under what we would consider primitive conditions, they regularly lived into their hundreds and often lived to be 120 to 140 years old. Their culture was not plagued with cancer, heart disease, ulcers, diabetes, allergies, kidney and liver disease, arthritis, asthma, hypoglycemia, mental disorders, colds, flu, tooth decay, or any of the other diseases so common in our society. Nor did they suffer from depression. Several researchers described them as the happiest people in the world. The Hunzas had clear minds, high intelligence, excellent memories, and enormous physical strength and stamina. Many researchers went to Hunza in the early 20th century, long before many of the advances of modern medicine, to study and write about these phenomenally healthy people. Sir Robert McCarrison, MD, a prominent British physician, spent 7 years living and doing research among the Hunzas, and he first brought the health of the Hunza people to world attention. In November 1921, Dr. McCarrison presented the results of his research at a meeting of the Society for Biological Research held at the University of Pittsburgh. He described the Hunzas as a race unsurpassed in perfection of physique and in freedom from diseases in general. He found that chronic diseases, including cancer, were totally unknown. Cancer was unknown among these extraordinarily long-lived people, yet we are told that cancer is the disease of aging. Another researcher, J.I. Rodell, in his book, The Healthy Hunzas, reported that colds are non-existent in Hunza. He said that it was not unusual to see men walking through snowdrifts in the coldest weather, bare-chested and barefooted. Bare-chested and barefoot. He observed that one Hunza man traveled 60 miles in a single day by foot in mountainous terrain, arriving back as if he had returned from a casual walk. Hunza women did not suffer menstrual pain or any of the other female complaints of our society. In Hunza, people typically died of old age in their sleep, without experiencing the chronic suffering that usually precedes death in our own society. The story of the Hunzas shows the potential for human health, how healthy human beings can perform. As part of their leisure activities, the men of Hunza from teenage to 120 years old perform vigorous, physical, demanding folk dances. In his book, Hunza, Hoffman described men in their 70s and 80s gliding through the air with the same grace and ease as those in their teens and 20s. Hoffman wrote, "The stamina of the people is beyond words. In fact, men over 100 years of age were observed going up these mountainsides just as though they were men of 50. It is my belief that many American men of 50 years of age could not keep up with these Hunza men." What was it that allowed the Hunzas to achieve this amazing level of health? You probably already know the answer: a combination of a nutritious diet, toxin-free environment, exercise, sleep, sunshine, fresh air, and low-stress lifestyle. Given only two causes of disease, deficiency and toxicity, let us examine how the Hunzas kept their cells adequately supplied with nutrients and free of toxins, thus realizing near optimal health and longevity. While we cannot replace their lifestyle, we can see how far our own lifestyles fall short of these goals. And we can begin to understand how to make the kinds of changes that will bring us closer to our potential. An optimal diet and lifestyle. The Hunza diet was highly nutritious, consisting mainly of vegetarian foods grown rich in nutrient-rich soil. They irrigated their fields with mineral-rich water and composted all of their organic matter, leaves, straw, manure, etc., to produce soils of the highest quality. Contrast their mineral-rich soils to U.S. soils, which are depleted due to modern chemical farming. It doesn't take a degree in agricultural science to know that if minerals are not in the soil, they do not get into the plant, and then they don't get into you. In addition to fresh vegetables and fruits, the Hunzas ate whole grains that were exceptionally high in nutrients as opposed to the refined sugars and nutrient-depleted white flour that's so prevalent in our diet. Only about 10% of the Hunza's calories came from fat, as opposed to about 37% in the American diet. 80% of their foods were eaten fresh and raw. In addition to being high in nutrition, their diet was low in toxins, meaning that their foods didn't contain any cancer-causing compounds that come from exposures to pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and other agricultural chemicals. Along with getting plenty of exercise by working the land and walking everywhere, the Hunzas also got adequate sleep. Since there was no artificial lighting in their village, they went to bed when it got dark and they woke up at daybreak, regardless of the time of the year. So what are we to take from the Hunza's habits? Should we quit our sedentary jobs and take up organic farming? It's actually not such a bad idea. Should we shun all supermarket foods and hide our head under the covers at sunset? That's not a bad idea either. All these options are surely not realistic. You can make some practical and positive changes in your lifestyle, and this book will show you how. While you don't have to avoid supermarkets altogether, you can learn how to avoid filling your chart with the most toxic foods in the grocery aisles, some of which you might wrongly assume are healthy for you, and paying good money for food that is actually killing you. You can learn how to prepare your foods in ways that don't rob them of their nutrients, and how to avoid cooking your foods by methods that compromise your health. You can become aware of what toxic chemicals are lurking in your environment, in everyday products, and choose healthy alternatives instead. You can see how making a few simple changes in your sleeping habits will restore your body's natural rhythms and allow your body ample time to rejuvenate. You can make informed decisions about which medical treatments you need and which are actually hurting your health. So you see, you don't have to move to the Andes Mountains to find health. You can live a long and healthy life in your own town. But what you may wonder would happen to these mighty Hunzas if they lived in your town with a fast food restaurant on every corner. The results shouldn't surprise you. The Hunzas were geographically isolated from the outside world. The one treacherous road into the Hunza Valley was closed 9 months of the year because of the weather, and the road was not all that inviting during the remaining 3 months. The isolation allowed the Hunzas to live in the traditional, customary, and close-knit familial and social groups, almost up until the present day. Had the Hunza Valley been more accessible, modern culture would have intruded and damaged the health of this population sooner than it did. And we would have lost our opportunity to learn from them. Eventually, modern foods were introduced into the Hunza's lives when the first all-weather road was built through the mountain passes and into their valleys in the 1970s, making this area more accessible to civilization. Civilized foods such as white sugar, white flour, white rice, Coca-Cola, cola drinks, coffee, processed oils, and alcohol were introduced. Fresh, homegrown whole foods were replaced with the processed and toxic foods that make up much of the diet we eat today. This exposure to modern culture had tremendously detrimental health effects on the Hunza population. What is especially notable is how rapidly a modern diet will cause health to decline. Researchers have noted that health begins to deteriorate within 6 months of introducing modern diets into populations previously eating only their traditional foods. The Hunzas were an incredibly healthy population just a few decades ago. Today, they face increasing levels of chronic disease, just like the rest of the civilized world. However, because of their prior isolation, the Hunzas provided a perfect control group, an ideal people for the study and measurement of the potential for human health. If the Hunzas had been the only extraordinary healthy people in the world, we might dismiss their health as an aberration. However, numerous other examples of long-lived and healthy populations are available, including people living in mountainous areas of Bulgaria and Hungary, the island of Crete, the Lake District of Titicaca in Peru, and Vilcabamba Valley in Ecuador, and the Caucasus region of Russia. They all have a similar story. They eat high quality, nutritious foods. They get a lot of exercise and plenty of fresh air, sleep, and sunshine. They live a life of low stress in communities and emphasize family and human relationships. As a result, they enjoy a level of health and quality of life that we can barely imagine. Unsanitary conditions, but healthy people. In another region of Ecuador, we find another story of superior resiliency and longevity. The Indians of the mountainous region of Cuenca. In his book, How to Survive Modern Technology, Charles McGee, MD, reports experiences he had as a Project Hope physician in this region starting in 1965. McGee had awesome tales to tell about the resilience of these people who ate excellent diets and lived low-stress lifestyles. Otherwise, however, their living conditions were what we would consider primitive. These Indians usually walked around barefoot and lived in one-room, dirt-floored houses that had no glass in the windows. They had extremely poor sanitary conditions, no running water, no toilet facilities, and their animals wandered haphazardly in and out of their living spaces. As a result of these filthy conditions and a contaminated water supply, infant mortality was very high for bacterial and parasitic infections. Infants are more susceptible to infections because their immune systems are not yet fully developed. Examinations of the local children showed that 95% had intestinal parasites. Given the above, one would certainly expect these Indians to be sickly and weak. To the contrary, McGee found them to have perfect teeth, extremely high resistance to infections, and amazing resilience to physical trauma resulting from accidents. He described incidents where he treated a man with a ruptured bladder from a bus accident and a woman with a ruptured uterus from childbirth. McGee said that considering the severity of the damage and the quality of the medical facilities, neither of these people should have survived. These people not only survived, they walked home to their mountain villages after treatment at McGee's hospital. Yes, by our standards, they should not have survived. However, our standards are substandard. Our assumptions about the capabilities of the human body are significantly underestimated. The good nutrition of these people contributed to their cellular health, which allowed them to recover from severe injuries that would probably kill the typical American. Likewise, absent in these Indians were the typical American diseases, such as heart disease, cancer, diabetes, allergies, asthma, senility, and mental illness. Also compelling is that in 1 year of doing surgery under very basic and unsanitary conditions, McGee observed only one post-operative infection. In modern technologically advanced hospitals, infections are bewilderingly rampant. In fact, many people in our society are afraid of hospitals for this exact reason. The resilience to disease of these Indians under exceptionally challenging conditions was truly amazing. Germs and parasites are everywhere, and we have been living with them for millennia. Despite the presence of intestinal parasites in most of the cuenca, few of them ever became sick from them. Only since the germ theory and the discovery of microscopic organisms has medicine focused so obsessively on isolating and killing germs. Medicine has developed few or no protocols for promoting basic human health and immunity. Yet, promoting health is the only thing that consistently works, as we can see from these healthy populations. The Cuenca had virtually none of the diseases that are so common among us. Why? Because they were fundamentally healthy. That is, they had healthy cells. McGee contrasted their superior health to the poor health of the population of a nearby city, where toxic junk foods like sugar, white flour, soda pop, and white rice had been available for several years. In this city, not surprisingly, heart attacks, diabetes, and other chronic diseases had begun to appear. Modern progress toward deterioration. Having seen how healthy people are capable of performing, living long lives free of disease and enjoying boundless energies, why, with all of our technology, are we doing so poorly by comparison? The many changes we have made in modern society have taken us away from the factors that enhance health and created new conditions that damage health. Never before in all of human history have so many health-related factors changed so rapidly and so completely. The basic nutritional, environmental, and behavioral dimensions of our society have been severely and rapidly altered. Since the Industrial Revolution, and especially during the past century, humanity has completely changed its diet, created a new environment, developed new patterns of behavior and lifestyle. Granted, in this millennium, most of us simply cannot grow our own food and harvest it when ripe, walk to our destination, or totally avoid the stresses of modern industrial society. However, in recognizing what contributed to the health of traditionally healthy people, combined with an understanding of the significant changes we have made to our own environments and lifestyles, we can begin to see how we must compensate. We need to learn how to create healthy habits for living within our modern ways of life. Our way of life is completely different from the lives of even a century ago. From a personal standpoint, these changes have been made too slowly for us to notice. But from an evolutionary standpoint, they have come rapidly, much too rapidly for healthy adaptation by our bodies and minds. The web of life. Choosing health would be easy if only one factor were involved. However, no one factor determines our health. Rather, our state of health is the end result of countless biological and behavioral interrelationships called the web of life. Unwittingly, we have been busy pulling this web apart through the fundamental changes we have made in our diet, our environment, and our behavior. Everything relates to everything else. Making a change in one part of the web affects the rest of it. We are learning that life support systems are more interdependent and delicately balanced than we ever realized. No one fully understands how it all works. The web is as big and complex as the planet itself, and as some scientists suggest, as big as the universe. But the fact that we do not understand it thoroughly certainly should not prevent us from using what we do know for protecting and supporting our health right now. Acting on our knowledge of the factors described in the chapters about the 6 pathways can take us beyond health as we have come to accept it. We have seen traditionally healthy people, such as the Hunzas, achieve a potential for human health that is truly awesome. But to achieve a high level of health in our society requires knowledge, commitment, and a willingness to try new things. It can be done. While none of us can or probably want to revert to living a primitive lifestyle, we can, with a few changes in diet and lifestyle, improve our health and quality of life. End of chapter 2. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that and learned something new. We will continue our reading next week. Same time, same bat place, same bat time. In the meantime, have a nice day, nice night, nice week, and stay safe out there. Okay, bye-bye now.